Hello, everybody. You made it. Day two of how to make money with email. Uh, so excited that you're here, especially those of you who are surviving hurricanes right now. Glad that you made it. That is extra commitment. Um, the the whole opportunity that we've got right now in front of us today, and it's exciting. I have been diving into analytics for my clients. I mentioned this yesterday, but I can't stop talking about it because I've got so much more data. Literally, I mean, I've done this mastermind many, many years. And today I have more data than I've ever had where I can tell you the ROI that can happen in with your email stuff. So we'll go through that. Probably spend some good time on that tomorrow. I'll show you some real live numbers. I will give you a tool where you can calculate it yourself. This is the type of exercise we don't get very often in digital marketing, honestly, because we kind of have to go on a hope and a prayer, but I can give you hard facts right now, or pretty darn close to it. And the answer here, as I mentioned yesterday, is that there's two secrets to making more money with email. Number one, grow the list, have a big list. And number two, send more emails. Yes, emails that work, emails that convert. And so that's going to be our topic today, is those emails that you're writing, how to write them, things that I've learned over time. A couple of housekeeping things. If you have not yet done so, go grab the email and autopilot course. Raptive is graciously covering the cost for that. And it's an expensive course, so you might as well go get it if you haven't done so yet. Email on autopilot has been with me for a long time, and I keep updating it. Some of the screenshots or the videos always require updating, and that's kind of a hassle, but it's worth it because it helps you actually get stuff done. All right, so if you haven't done so, go give that a whirl. I'll drop that into the chat one more time. Yesterday, you were very patient with me and said, all right, Matt, I'll just trust you on this journey of where we're going. So today I want to give you a cookie cutter, generic flow of where we can go with these emails. All right. Now, this is not going to be right for all of you. Some of you are well beyond this. The people I'm talking to, though, are the ones that are struggling to be consistent and to have a system. I've found that with everything, it's a successful endeavor in digital marketing and blogging and content creation. It's usually about having a reliable system where you can turn the flywheel and keep it going, and you don't just do something once. That's where many of my clients are with email. Is they're like, well, I know I should do it. I just hate sending the emails. I sent once, I'm inconsistent. And guess what? Your audience their email performance reflects that. You can't build loyalty until, they say that friendships, relationships are built off of common interests and common experiences. So isn't that what we're doing with our newsletter? Is we're sharing common interests, and each time we send them, it's a common experience that we can share together. If your best buddy never calls you, you probably never go to lunch, right? So same thing with branding here. All right, so what I've got here for you is a super simple diagram. What we've been focusing on is one way to get people onto the list. It could be anything, but we're talking about the Quick Start Guide, and we'll continue talking about that today. It could be your printables. It could be, download ebook. Could be whatever bonus content you have. It could be the save this recipe, save this article feature. Once they're on the list, here's what I suggest. Minimum. Many people are worried about sending too many emails. I'm telling you, you should not worry about it so much if that's you. Your audience cares about the topic. They care about what you have to say because you are a smarty pants. So let's share what you know. I suggest, we're going to talk about the Forever series here in just a little bit. This is an evergreen nurture sequence that can go on and on and on and on and on. All right, I'm going to explain that here in a few. This is not, here's what to make a thing for Thanksgiving, because it has to be evergreen. And you'll understand that as I dive in. Then all of us have topics that could be that where there are seasonality related to it. Every one of us. So seasonality matters a lot. This is what people think about. I started this call talking about the weather, right? So I suggest 2 emails minimum per week. Is anybody feeling like that's too much? How many out there, just curious, are sending daily emails? Is anybody? No, that seems like crazy town, doesn't it? All right, now some of your niches is probably not a good idea. But I have in the food space, for example, I have some clients where I send daily. Barbara's sending five per week. Now, especially in food, this is just a good example. We use food as a proxy, but with recipes and whatever, people get hungry a lot. And they don't get mad at you if you send the, I don't know, the horseradish quinoa spinach dip today and you're just not making anything. They don't even unsubscribe. They either save it for later, which that never comes, or they just delete it. But tomorrow, when you send them the tuna casserole gingerbread cookie, they're all in because that hits them in a perfect spot, right at the right time. Now, other of you are in travel or crafts, and maybe that's too much. You know, if you're trying to share about, like Mindy might be about Puerto Rico, you know, there's going to be a cadence to that. If you're headed to Puerto Rico, or no, it's Portugal, excuse me. If you're headed to Portugal, there's probably a cadence that makes sense. You got to think about your audience in terms of what do they need. If I'm planning for a vacation, more emails up front makes more sense than maybe later because I'm in that mode. So this is what I'm sharing here is this is only to get you thinking. This is not going to be gospel truth for all of you. When I start a new client that I'm doing consulting with, this is where we begin because most of them have something similar to what one of you just said. I send weekly newsletters. Yeah. So you can do this, you can do a lot more here. All right, so we'll get into that. But today we're going to finish talking about the quick start guide. I offered, and I only have 2 people that took me up on it. This is actually pretty useful if you want to get in on this. I'm actually going to copy edit your quick start guide, whatever stage it is at. I want to help you and I want to look at it, whatever it is. And if you're comfortable with that, I promise to be nice today. Not always will I do that, but today I'm feeling particularly nice. So I'll be gentle. If you have, let's see, I have 2 here. This is Isabel's. I know that because it says Isabel. That's how I know things. And this one is, no idea. Whose is this? Oh, Sarita, is this yours? Okay. All right, cool. All right. If you have a quick start guide that you would like to share, drop it in the chat. Give me edit access, please, so that I can make some notes on it and make some suggestions. Now, before I get going too far here, I want to tell you what I'm going to tell you. All right. I haven't even looked at these. I'm sure they're wonderful. You are wonderful. I validate and see you. Now, what I'm going to tell you is get to the point. People don't read, they skim. Dan's heard me say that before. I thought Dan was going to make me a bumper sticker or a t-shirt at that. People don't read, they skim emails. So let's help them by getting to the point. Reduce your word count. Literally write your thing or use ChatGPT to do your outline and then you fill it in or whatever your process is. And then stand up, go walk around the park, do the hokey pokey with someone that you love, sit back down, and then trim your word count. You can cut out half your words, I promise. I don't care how succinct you've been. You can get it more succinct. Use subheaders. We're going to talk about that formatting here in a minute because if it has to, in order to be skimmable, formatting matters a lot. Use buttons. Obviously, in your Google Docs, we don't have buttons, but when you're sending these out, use buttons. People are trained to know what to do with a button. And then probably most important is, what problem are you solving with this email? I want you to both get to the point, but I want you to solve a problem, be useful. And who are you solving it for? We'll dive into that. If it's not clear to me when I read it, or clear to you, then it's definitely not going to be clear to your audience as a whole. And then it's not going to be a very effective message. Okay? All right, let's dig in. Who wants to go first? Let's see. We've got two choices. Who's bravest today? Isabel's got a very pretty pink background.
First.
You're okay going first?
Yes, in the spirit of my pink wall.
All right, so tell me, it seemed like this was not new, this is revised.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had a call before, and so we talked about this. So I started in 5 days for the Ultimate Life Reset, and it was converting extremely well. But then based on yesterday, I thought that I was not getting to the point, that I was very wordy, and that it didn't have an order that actually made sense for my audience. So I revised in that. And in the original version, I also only had one blog post per email. And on this one, I'm giving 3 options for them, and kind of using a template they actually showed yesterday, kind of giving a quick explanation on why would that be good for them, what they were looking for. So that's the updated structure of everything.
Okay. Will you refresh me and those that are following along here? Will you refresh me on why you chose the Ultimate Life Reset?
Yeah, sure. So my blog is all about health and wellness and beginner strategies for mental health and personal development. 97% of my audience is female, and my blog posts that perform the best, that rank on Google, they're very good on Pinterest. They all around restarting your life, life reset, glow up, like this type of language has been very consistent. So I'm just using the same language that my audience is already used to it.
I'm remembering now. I'm remembering the phrase glow up. It seemed like you get a lot of traffic on that particular phrase. Is that right?
Yes, actually life reset more than glow up, because there's a whole discussion in my niche about how glow up is actually not a good thing. So life reset is like more acceptable throughout everybody.
Yeah. Okay. And life reset is actually how people are Googling, or those are the terms that they're using?
They are using life reset, reinvent yourself, restart your life. If you go to Pinterest trends, even those are the terms that have been consistent since the beginning of the year, like growing month after month.
Right. Okay. Love it. Thank you for that. I want to make a point here that Isabel has brought it. Let's use the words that they use when we're talking about stuff. So this is a general marketing conundrum, if you will, is that we talk about things a certain way, and we always do, and we get used to talking about it that way. And sometimes our audience doesn't actually see it that way. So it's a good idea to hear how other people talk about your stuff, your products, your services. What words do they use? And then echo those words back, because there's a good chance that your audience also uses those words. So that's why I was pressing a little bit about the Ultimate Life Reset. Does the person who's seeing the pop-up for this understand what that means, and is that compelling? And it sounds like Isabel, you've made some really smart choices here. All right, so let's dive in here. Let me hit the suggestion mode here in case I have a suggestion. All right, so what's your subject line on this one, by the way?
So what I did for all of them, and actually I didn't edit in there, but as a question, I always have day 1, all caps, and then 5 days for the Ultimate Life Reset. And then on day 2, day 3, day 4. I don't know if this is the best approach. I just know that when I sign up for those things, seeing day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 helped me to like go back to that email and see where I stopped.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of projection on that one.
Okay, cool. I like that. I have no problem with that. I do that all the time, actually, with my clients. I've been doing it a lot more lately, as a matter of fact. The day 1, day 2, especially on a quick start guide where it's a multi-day series. It reminds them of that thing that they signed up for and the reason that they signed up for it. So we don't have to get too cute. If you're worried about subject lines, this is a good fallback or starting point, I should say. Sometimes you might want to, because for example, I have some, let's say I was doing a summer recipe quick start guide. I might have my most popular grilling recipes of all time. Day one, most popular grilling recipes of all time, because that's so powerful. It's just, you know, that hook is going to be a little bit stronger. Anyway, but for a fallback position, that is a great place to be. My subject line formula that I go to most often is curiosity plus self-interest. The reason I'm talking about this here, it doesn't have to apply to the quick start guide for reasons that Isabel she just gave us a shortcut. But you can't do that on your seasonal broadcasts and your Forever Series emails and all that, right? So get in the mode of practicing good subject line writing. Curiosity plus self-interest. What does that mean? Well, the dumb example I always use is, so if, again, going back to food, because it's easy, we all relate to this. Let's say that a blogger has a new pineapple coleslaw recipe. And she sends an email out at 7 in the morning that says, pineapple coleslaw. Are you opening the pineapple coleslaw recipe email? Probably not. Who wants pineapple coleslaw in their life? I don't know of anybody. So what can we do instead? The side dish that impressed my mother-in-law. Now, what is that doing? Let's dissect that. The side dish that impressed my mother-in-law. Well, the curiosity is, what the heck is this? That sounds like an interesting story. And the self-interest is, I want to impress people. I'd never thought about pineapple coleslaw this way before. But if it worked for you, maybe it'll work for me. There's a big difference between, I'm not saying no. So I used to have a slide that talked about the yes funnel. In order for an email to work, what is our outcome? We usually have a desired outcome. We want them to, in this case, we want them to visit one of our posts or pages on our website. We want them to watch a YouTube video, we want them to buy a product. It could be anything. That's the final yes from the email's perspective. The first yes is at the inbox, the subject line. If they say no at any place along the way, then we've lost them. So as we look through this, that's also what we're doing is, are they saying yes to the next paragraph? Are they saying yes to the next subheader? All right. Curiosity plus self-interest. If that helps you, put it on a little sticky note and put it right here on your monitor for a while as you're writing. I promise you, your subject lines will improve. All right. Welcome to day one of the 5 days for the ultimate life reset. I like this. I mentioned this yesterday. I'm glad you're doing it. For the same reasons in the subject line, it reminds them of that thing that they just signed up for. I even, will do something like this to just put it as the proper noun. It's a title. It's, hey, this is the thing. I'm branding this thing. This is a free product, but it's a product nonetheless, and it's valuable. Over the next 5 days, I'll share the actual strategies, tools, and mindset shifts that help me turn things around and reset my life for good. Not only myself, but also lovely leaders of my blog that have been writing for almost 5 years now. Wait, are we on a number 5 theme moment? I don't know what that means, but I assume your audience does.
Because it was 5 days for the Ultimate Life Reset, I repeated 5 multiple times.
Oh,
and then I said that I'm reading the blog for almost 5. So I might take that. I do a lot of quirky humor with my audience, and it seems to work a lot with them. So I would test it out and see if that works or not.
Yeah, I didn't get it right away. So maybe it's just a little tiny tweak and you'll get that. But, infusing some humor in there is fun. I also like that you're doing a little bit of a humble brag, I guess, of I've helped a lot of people with this.
Yeah, it's a mini intro that you said yesterday to talk about, do a little mini intro of yourself in the beginning.
Cool, I like that. Do you want to know a little secret about starting life reset that actually works? Getting clear and understanding where you are now. Only when you look inside and around and identify where you stand in my ocean. Let's make sure your inner GPS is good to go so you can get a life reset that will change things for good. Here are some of my best ideas to help you do that. Okay, a couple of thoughts. I am going to just give you what comes to my head. This is not necessarily right. All right, this is more art than it is marketing. Email marketing is more art than it is science. It's your voice. So all these disclaimers, I'm getting all these out, okay? I'm just going to give you some things to think about. Not necessarily saying you should change a darn thing, because this will work just great. a couple of things that I was wondering about. First, is the problem super clear? Yes, you explain what will happen over the next 5 days. This assumes that I need to turn my life around. But we never said anything like, and I don't want to make the email longer, but we never stated the problem. Like,
Got it.
you're here because you want a life reset. I've been there. Or, you know what I mean? I'm not saying use those words, but I feel like I'm missing that here.
Okay.
Which is probably, again, it's probably fine. They signed up for this thing that says they want a life reset, but I do want to, I kind of want to spell out that that's the solution, that we are going to give them the solution. Usually an email in my, again, kind of a format that I use is state the problem, tell them that you have the solution to the problem, and then give them the solution.
Okay.
So other thoughts, random. I want some numbers in here. Not only myself, but the lovely readers of my blog. I've been writing for almost 5 years now, but I've helped over 12,000 people. I've helped over 500,000 or 10 million people have read these, something that is social proof. Like people react to real numbers, and it builds credibility fast. Or you could even do things like, I even wrote about this in the New York Times. Or link to that, assuming you have actually done that. This is the basis for my best-selling book, blah, blah, blah. Again, that's just another snippet that you can do self-introduction without, you spent 5 words on that, Okay. If I'm a skimmer, let me look at these real quick.
I did not put bold on the next ones. Like on the first one, I added bold and italic, but on the next ones, I was focused on finishing writing. So I didn't do all this because I know that a good rule is basically putting bold everything that is necessary for them to get the gist of the email. So that's what I usually do. But
all right, check this out. What happens when you do this? So I'm going here, I'm like, and I'm saying, you're going to fix this. These are not the right words. I don't like that at all, actually. But the gist of it is you're going to say something that's a little bit more human, that
kind
identifies
of give them the pain points, maybe.
Yeah,
kind of like, are you here fast. Because you feel like, okay.
Yeah, but super fast. Or it could be bullets. Oh, that's interesting. Are you here because you want to reset? I love bullet points.
And you can kind of give the pain points. Yeah, and just kind of like, because you're feeling like overwhelmed or stuck in procrastination, because those are like some common threads that it might be the reason why they are, feeling like they need a life reset.
Right? So what this did, and by the way, I love bullet points. I love this formatting. People get it. You don't have to say much. But the fact that you use the word overwhelmed, yeah, that's me. You don't have to say, do you ever feel like life is too much and there's too much to do and you're less than, and oh my gosh, you find yourself stuck on tasks that should just take you minutes? You don't need to say any of that. You just do this, bam, because they get it. All right, so if I'm reading this, I got day 1 of 5 days for the ultimate life reset. And then I hit this. Yes, that's me. And then over the next 5 days, blah, 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 blah. The first step. That's how I'm skimming, right? How you win is if you get them to take action. So the skim factor needs to be considered as we stair step them or walk them to the next portion. And that's why I love a good subheader here, because this is anticipating. The first step is, because if I don't have this, by the way, well, I'm going to leave it there. Remember what it looked like when it wasn't there.
To
my
just like
mind
open
has
it.
to actually work harder to read this stuff and pull out what you mean. By hitting this, the first step, now my mind is already poised to understand this. And I understand it better, even if I don't read this. Now this is just fine. I'm going to show you, this is Matt showing how you can be ruthless about word count. Now, one of the things that I'm thinking about here, this is may not be right. So let's look at this again. So are you here because you want these? Blah, blah, blah. Here's the first step. It is this, getting clear and understanding. Again, I'm skimming. But then how do you do that? Because this was all blah, 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 right? How do you do that? 3 things to do. So here's how. Now, these are, I felt like when you were putting these in here, these might have been like kind of optional, like pick one of these. But I'm kind of going this direction of do each one of these things or something. And that may not be right, but one.
My only thing
Oh,
with
they're all
that
prompts.
is
They're all
that,
prompts.
yeah, the only thing that it's actually a question. Do we give them lots of things to do and then they don't feel like they do them? So they kind of don't come back on the next day or the other days because they're kind of like, oh, darn it. Like I wasn't able to finish.
Yeah.
Or the idea of doing options is almost like giving them a quick win that they can pick any of those. And
Yeah.
if they complete one thing, so it's just kind of like, it's just understanding.
Yeah,
What
that's a
do you
good
think might be a
question.
good approach? Yeah.
Okay, so let's relate that to this session here. You and I are in together.
Mm-hmm.
You got here because of Raptive. They said you'll be better at your email. In day 1, I said you'll grow your list if you do this one thing. And now we're discussing that one thing. What if yesterday had been you'll grow your list if you make an ebook or maybe try a quiz? Or have you tried polls? Or you could actually get a billboard on I-5, and you know what I mean? So
Okay.
I'm not afraid to give you homework, and I'm not afraid to focus, because it's like people just love that. Like, tell me the thing to do. And then if they don't do that, that's on them. Like, we have a couple people fewer than we did yesterday. Stuff happens. They're going to watch the replay or whatever. The timing isn't right for them to tackle this. But I feel like we did the thing. We hooked them. So they're on the list. And now you can really help them. Oh, that was pretty good. We hooked them. Now help them. I'm going to put that on a slide somewhere. So I might, and let's not go into this too much, but I might consider take a step back now. And like literally, if you're giving a TED talk or you're speaking in a whatever, and you're saying you want to do a life reset, doggone it, do this one thing now. What is it? I love that about a quick start. Now, sometimes it makes sense to give them choices. So if you want to make the perfect cookie this summer, here are the 5 best cookies, because I love snickerdoodles, you love chocolate chip cookies, and Barbara likes oatmeal with raisin. Now, Barbara is way, way wrong, but we can't discount her completely, right? So that variety is helpful, and different is just a different way to approach. We're solving the one problem, which is the cookie. In this case, you're solving the one problem, which is how to start. So if you give them too many options, maybe that's the way to go. I don't know in your niche, in your topic here. Or does it just make more sense for you to say, dude, will you just do this one thing? Like I said, dude, will you just make one quick start guide and do a write-up and we'll go through it? All right, hope that makes sense. Let's look here.
Perfect, yeah, it does. This is just so, like I told you, we might have to trim it down, but this is just my current introduction and how it looks formatted in the way that I have. I really like it, but sometimes I think it's too long. Is the last thing in the email. It just kind of like builds authority and kind of shows my heart for them behind, you know, this whole series.
It's super cute though. Like your pink
I know, because
wall.
you told my emails were awful to read the first time that we met. So I was just like on a mission to make them look nice.
Okay, this is an important point.
Yeah.
For those of you who are on Flowdesk, man, they can make a beautiful email, can't they? The problem is that you can't read it.
Mm,
Do you know how people are reading
okay.
this stuff? Like I'm old. I've got this right now. I've got this on a big monitor and I'm still struggling to see what this all says down here.
Mhm.
Imagine that like this. How much effort am I going to spend? Remember, we just talked about skimmability. People don't read this stuff. So if you're talking about all these other these things here, what do you really want me to know about you?
Mhm.
What are the most important things? Especially Martha, who just Googled life reset, doesn't even know who Isabel is. What are the most
Yeah.
important things that Martha needs to know? Now, you can
I
do
think
more of
just
this stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think that like it condenses on the third paragraph that basically like shows why I do this because I was in the place where they are. And then it has like all my main authority builders that are important for my audience. So I think if I just have that,
Right.
it is like done.
Yeah. And you could even say that shorter. I can see it right now. But yes, I 100%
Yeah.
agree with that. Because you're
Okay.
like, oh, met Oprah, is a global tastemaker. You know, whatever your little humble brags are,
And
at least in this.
and also, yeah, and he started the blog because I had a problem with self-confidence. So
That's
it's just
right.
like, oh, this person, no, I understand. Okay.
I love it. You've actually made me think of something. This is not a quick start guide thing. Okay, so do not confuse this. Let me find it real fast. You might do something like this in your Forever series. This will make more sense when we get to the Forever series, but since we're talking about it now. Because I do think, remember we were talking about, I do think that branding is important and understanding who you are is important, or them understanding who you are. And there's a time for that. And it's not very far away after the quick start guide. But there's ways to do it that I think is easier for them to digest. All right. So she went from Velveeta and Cool Whip to professional culinary school and back again. All right. So I grew up eating this, blah, blah, blah. My main goal here around here is this. I think I'll go to culinary school. That emphasizes the point that she went to culinary school. Blah, 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 blah. 10 fun facts about me. People love fun facts. Oh, interesting. Now we're humanizing it, and there's some fun to this. What's your turn? And then on top of that, she's got recipes. My personal favorite, the most popular. So there's a place for this. There's a time for this. What you're doing right now, Isabel, is you're focusing on and everybody, you're focusing on the short version to put in the footer. But then, you know, when we get into the Forever series, for example, and you want a new subscriber that has at least gone through the initial, okay, I helped you with the reset. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about who I am and how I got here, and then the next thing I can help you with. All right, back to this. All right, any other questions on this, Isabel? This looks great, by the way. I mean, I'm really just nitpicking for the the sake of,
No,
of
I
example here.
appreciate it. No, I appreciate it. I'm really just trying to understand like what it's gonna help my audience, you know,
Yeah.
like more and gonna make them come back for the blog. So English is not my first language, so there's a lot of things that I might think are necessary but are not. So like all of those copywriting tips and everything, I really, really, really appreciate it.
I also want for you and for everybody that you create something that you can hit duplicate and repeat. Because let's say, forget what everybody says about glow up. Let's just say you wanted to dive into glow ups, 5 days for the perfect glow up. All right. Hit duplicate in ConvertKit or whatever your platform is on this sequence. All the emails get, you know, exact copies. You just go in and change the title. You change up the, are you here because of this? You change up what is the main thing that we're doing, and then I'm just changing these out, and then boom, I've got a new series. I'm ready to go. It took me a half hour to bang out one of these, and now I'll have it forever. You know, I'll have this for a very long time. I want you to make more of these. And so that's why I'm trying to give you a formulaic, not in your voice like you would normally write, a formulaic approach so that you can do these faster.
For sure. No, and I can duplicate this for the other days too. You know,
Yeah,
this base here and like the cut on 50%. I can just apply this mentality to the next ones.
love it. Okay, thank you for being our guinea pig, our going first.
You're welcome.
All right, Sarita.
Hi.
Hi. So, what am I going to tell you? I haven't even looked at it, but based off of what I've said already, what am I going to tell you?
Maybe that it's too wordy. The reason this says second attempt is I misunderstood the assignment. And when I did it the first time, I had 3 to 5 links in each of the emails. And then I finally figured out to look at your email course and realized, oh no, I only needed 3 to 5 links in total. So I scrambled to try and finish it, though it's a bit of a mess. To make it even worse, Matt, I'm actually a writer. That's my job. I'm a business and finance writer. And I'm also old. And I find trying to change the voice from being, I mean, I'm a former financial advisor as well. So trying to change from that voice to a folksy, homesteading, off the grid, self-reliant recipe voice, I'm not that friendly. So
Yeah.
it's
That's funny.
I suck at this, as my kids tell me.
Well, it sounds like you have a keen self-awareness, and the places where you are focusing on. Let's dig in here real quick. So let's go through this. Summer's best DIY recipes. That's the theme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm gonna hit suggestion, and I'm gonna just do the things that. And again, what you have is fine. I'm only doing these things just to give everybody a sense of, if you are stuck, kind of a Mad Libs version of this, here's how we do it. Okay. So, hi there, name. Welcome.
Okay, no, sorry. This first part is what I would put on the ConvertKit form or landing page. The email actually starts below series outline.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, gotcha. All right, we'll come back to this.
Okay.
There's way too much there.
That's
Nobody's going to read any of that. Okay, so this is the key. I want you to think of, we'll talk about pop-ups and we'll talk about copy for that, but again, people don't read, especially if they see a pop-up or a form, it has to hit them like that. And if they have to think, then you're not going to get them. So it has to be instinctual and solve a problem right away.
Okay.
All right, let's get into this. Sorry, I missed that. Now, welcome to day 1 of blah, blah, blah. Imagine this. Your kids' friends were over for a sleepover last night. You whipped up a bunch of pancakes. Open the cupboard, discover you're out. Oh, don't panic. Don't rush. Instead, make your own with just 4 simple ingredients. With 15,000 social media shares and almost 200 reviews. Okay, that's good. I like that social proof right there. Get my pancake syrup right here. Okay. So I want to clarify something that you mentioned about what it says in the course. I think I need to fix something in the course. There's something obviously broken from the days whenever I recorded it to now. Let's solve one problem per email. We don't only have to have one link per email, like the cookie example.
Okay.
The problem we're solving for cookies is, like, you may like the Snickerdoodles and I may like the chocolate chip, but the problem that we're solving is I want to bake cookies. But with food especially, there's so much variety in taste buds, dietary considerations, and so forth. So giving them options is often good. In Isabel's case, I was pushing her the other direction, wasn't I? Like, give them one thing, and that's going to depend on you and what you have. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that I love this. I love the world building that you're doing here, meaning I get the story, I'm in that moment. But how often does that happen to the typical person? Pancakes are delicious, but they are very specialized. Pancake syrup is another step of specialization. My guess, however, is that you have other great DIY projects that, did you know you could make that kind of sense?
Originally, this is exactly what this was. It said, what do pancake syrup, mayonnaise and marshmallows have in common? You can make them all yourself at home, because those are all things that I have on my site.
I apologize that the course sent you down a different direction. I
Okay.
think that what you had idea, the initial idea is probably stronger to
Okay.
appeal to more people, because we're going to put
Okay.
this out here. Let's say that we have 10 people on the call right now and 10 of us signed up. How many of the 10 of us are actually have this situation where we need to make pancake syrup? Not a good chance that any of us have that situation, right? So
Okay.
that's the other thing for all of y'all. Start broad. So in the cookie scenario, chocolate chip should lead, right? Your gingerbread snap infused with almonds should probably be at the bottom. Not that it's bad. It's just fewer people want the ginger snap cookies compared to chocolate chip cookies. You will get better results that way. By the way, we're talking about subject lines. One hack is to always have the word chocolate chip cookie in a subject line. You will get opens, I promise. So anyway, I don't really have much to tell you there, but I might change this. I might take this scenario, shorten it up a little bit. Has this ever happened to you? You're out of pancake syrup. You're out of mayonnaise. You're out of whatever it might be. You can make it at home. Also, that might be this scenario. I'm just saying how I feel about it. This scenario might be email 5 for the same reason we just talked about, because it is kind of an edge case. And you're sharing edge cases. Most people do have mayonnaise at home in their pantry or whatever, or ketchup or whatever it is. But you're educating people that, you know what, you can make it better. You can make better quality. You can make more wholesome ingredients. You know, it's better for us, and it's fun. You know, that's kind of the message, I think, or part of the message with this particular one. Is that making sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's why I love things like sourdough. There are a lot of people who like sourdough. A lot of people like bread. So even if I was the pancake syrup searcher, and then I see this pop-up that is effective that we'll go over tomorrow, and I get into this quick start guide, I don't necessarily need the edge case stuff. But we know that because I am willing to make my own pancake syrup, I'm probably the type that it will make my own sourdough. And sourdough has more broad interest to more people. So that's my thinking on that. Sourdough is also, it's like caching on blogs. It's a mystery of the universe I just don't understand. I don't understand sourdough. I don't understand how this bread is hundreds of years old and I'm eating it. And I don't understand caching on WordPress either. So those two things fit hand in hand. Surprise recipe. Okay, so I'm guessing that you have other cool stuff like jerky.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
other types of jerky, or
I do. I have all kinds of dehydrated food recipes. I actually have a ton of sourdough recipes. I think I have close to 20 sourdough recipes. And I originally, I think I had 5 or 6 of my top ones in the sourdough.
yeah,
And
I like that.
yeah, I was wondering if I should lead with the sourdough first. The reason in terms of the series, the reason I went with the pancake syrup is my second most shared recipe. The sourdough, I've been making it for 40 years, but I've only been posting about it for the last, I think, 2 or 3 years. I just wasn't sure about that.
About which part? I didn't understand that.
I wasn't sure about what should be my lead email in this series.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think so far I think bread is the most appealing out of most broad, because even with chicken jerky, I have to raise the chickens, I have to kill some animals, and or whatever that may be, and that may not be my thing. But sourdough bread for sure. And I like the idea that you had originally of, here's my main sourdough starter, and here's how I make a sourdough whatever and a sourdough whatever and sourdough these.
I have sourdough chocolate chip cookies. I do.
You know, you may find out, Sarita, too, is you may want to consider down the road an actual sourdough quick start guide. I'm guessing that you have plenty of content around that.
I do. Okay.
And see, and on canning, dehydrating, preserving food. So this is probably okay, so this is a highlight, high level thing. And then I would, underneath this, I would have my top 5 canned, dehydrated, or preserved foods.
Okay.
Like if they don't want to be educated, you can start with the education, but if they just want, yeah. I just want to make the canned cabbage.
Okay.
And that sounds good.
I had started doing that, so I was on the right track. Okay.
Yeah. I think I derailed you with one of my older videos. So I'll have to make sure I've got that. I got to figure out where that is and fix that. Okay. Any other questions on this?
I don't think so. I think that's helpful. Thank you.
One last point. I've made it before, but I'll make it again, especially when we're talking about something in your area. A common thing that people will do is they feel like this guide has to educate. It does not.
Okay.
It just needs to inspire them to click something. The problem that these people have is that they love to bake, they love to cook, they love to grill, they're on a special diet, whatever. They just need ideas for tonight or this weekend. And so sometimes we overthink that by trying to create a secret or a whole guide or whatever, when the reality is, going back to Ralph, I don't know if you remember yesterday, the example from the Instagram parenting expert, why we yell at our kids. For a video on the negative effects of yelling, click here. Okay, that happens to be educational, but that content was there the whole time. It's just sending them back to it. So that wasn't a good example. But we don't have to like this is good, but I might, even with your audience, I might even do something like, yeah, I totally would do this. Actually, this is what my gut is telling me.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the things that we've found for our site, not just for the food, but for the living off the grid, solar panels, homesteading, the chickens, all of the things. Most of the people that come to our site have never done any of these things before. They are just looking for how to maybe take the first tiny little step.
Okay. So you're going to want to, that better than I do. You're going to want to play with that and test that. But this is another approach you could possibly mess with.
Okay.
Like, here's how you do it, but the best way to learn is by doing. Here's my 5 favorite blah blah. That's not bad.
And
I'm just going to put that there as an idea.
I do have one last question. I think, as you were saying to Isabel, because I had the same kind of question that she has, is when do we sort of introduce ourselves in terms of building authority? I tried to put in a few little snippets, like just one sentence within each email. But then in terms of actually, introducing myself and our backstory, is that after this, or?
What I would probably do in your case is I would consider at the bottom of every email a footer that is one paragraph that leads that kind of what Isabel was doing. She was narrowing down down to the third paragraph down to one. Give one real quick, punchy, short sentences. Hey, I started homesteading in 1922, whatever it is, and I've created over 5 billion recipes for my blog, for my super popular blog. Put it here, click here. If you want to see all the recipes, click here. Highlights for me: we're publishing this book, being featured on CNN, and yada yada, right? That kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Then, when we get into tomorrow a little bit with the Forever series and stuff, you could create kind of like what I talked about here. You find the right timing. It's about journey. Right now is not the journey. That's not the time to spend an entire email about who Megan is, right? But there will be a time. Maybe it's week 3 after they've been receiving really great stuff from you, and now it's time to unleash that. only you will know that, and it's worth playing around. But
Thank
what
you.
this used to be is this used to be the default, and it used to be, hi, my name's Matt, and I have a blog, and I've been blogging for a long time, and here's how you use my blog. If you want to find recipes, go to my recipe index. It's great. And you're like, I know how to use a blog, thanks. That doesn't solve my problem. And I want them to get hooked on the solutions first, and then be convinced that you are a subject matter expert worth knowing. All right, hope that helps. Looks like we've got a couple of questions here. Sorry, I've been ignoring them. Becky, I'll look at yours in just a moment. Let me open that up and make sure we've got the right level of access here. Looks like we do. Great. And then, oh, cool. Dan has taken his formula and a few dozen sample emails and created a custom GPT in ChatGPT. It gives a very rough draft for the email using the same format over and over again. Super smart. I do that all the time. If you are not using ChatGPT in this way, or Claude, Claude has projects now, which is pretty cool, the paid version. The custom GPTs is worth your time to go watch a YouTube video or two about it. The way that Dan is using it is super smart. And I've got about 30 different custom GPTs that I've created to help me do stuff faster. All right. Your stuff that you do in email all the time, over and over and over again. And what Dan just illustrated was it's formulaic in many cases. My email format is this. So if I insert my title and I can have and I have some basically what these custom GPTs do is they hold knowledge. So you can upload to it information about your site, what you do, your voice. It will never quite get your voice right. You can upload writing samples. It'll never quite get those right either, but it helps. And it'll get it like 80% of the way. And so you can then go to this custom GPT link anytime you want to create a new email and say, my topic is chicken jerky. And it already knows who Sarita is and what the backstory is on homesteading and blah, blah, blah. And it'll spit out certain things that you always like to include in there. Or you can even tell it, it must be in this format: paragraph, 2 sentences, headline, paragraph, 3 sentences, link, 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 if that's your format. Anything to add there, Dan?
As far as tone, I always have to tell it to be more of a jerk or more of a dick. It's too too bland. So
I've
like
never...
it isn't perfect, but yeah, it definitely gets you started.
Yeah,
takes away a lot of the friction. I
think that there are certain pieces of this that it's just like any other tool when we've created templates in the past or whatever. That's all we're doing. And this is just a little bit more advanced purpose. I've never asked it to use that tone with me, but I'll try that.
Yeah, it helps it sound more real. Like, obviously I don't want it to be mean, but it just sounds more authentic when it's like, you know, here's the real deal. I'm letting you
edgy.
Something. Yeah.
Okay, so your question here, I'm trying to decide between 3 angles for your new quick start guide: new game players, people on a budget, experienced people want new ideas. Okay, so the question is, which one should you choose? How are they getting there? What's the...
Yeah, so it's, you know, organic SEO traffic. And a lot of the articles are kind of like rankings of the best cards to put in your deck for this game. It's like a collectible card game. So people, you know, they collect cards and then they build decks with them and play against each other. So my suspicion is that most people aren't new. However, I know that, you know, newer or less experienced players are more top of funnel. And as you go down the chain of any content area, you know, the more experienced and dedicated and wanting to get like expert level at something someone is, that, you know, the smaller the market is for, you know, I guess the sheer number of like signups and clicks we're trying to get for, you know, driving ad revenue, for example. Right. So yeah, so I'm trying to like think about how to target it, because it's like, well, do I want to match the article intent the most, or do I want to just try and get the most people to sign up? Yeah.
Do you have one or two posts that are like unfairly, you know, just really rank way higher than others?
Yeah, I think like there are some that are not like unfairly, not for this content silo. Okay. There are definitely some that are, you know, like in the top 20% or something like that, but okay. It's relatively even.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, so I don't know the answer to that unless we were diving in. Like I can give you my gut if we were looking at the analytics and tell you, oh, I'd probably lean towards this. But let's say that it was even. Let's say you didn't know. So let me give you all a hack. Nobody will do this. I promise. None of you will do this. Maybe Dan will because of the way he's asking ChatGPT to give him some attitude. But this is a bold maneuver. This is for people who really want to know something fast. You create the pop-up before you create the quick start guide. Don't even write the email. Are you using ConvertKit, Dan? What are you using?
Yeah, I'm using ConvertKit and ConvertBox.
Okay, so you go to ConvertKit, you make a placeholder sequence. So then ConvertBox has somebody to drop, has somewhere to drop these people. You don't write a single email. You just, they get added in there. And then you go into ConvertBox and you bang out 3 different versions.
Yep.
And you turn them on.
Yeah.
And you start collecting in those 3 different sequences. And then you write the emails after.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea.
And then
that would save a lot of time.
Save a ton of time. And if, let's say that, I mean, you're going to feel bad if you don't deliver on this, but these gamers, okay, this is, you have choices here. If they never got the thing they signed up for, that doesn't seem right, but they're probably not losing sleep over. They're not sitting at home going, oh, I never got that thing that I signed up for.
No.
Or you could say, I'm going to give them the bare minimum thing. And it's like, hey, I know you want this. Here's three bullet points I think will help you. Bum, 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 bum. That's your sequence. That's your deliverable.
Yep. And in my experience, people never know who's emailing them right away. They'll sign up and forget about it. And like,
right.
I understand that's part of why you're doing this quick start guide to, get them actually to recognize your name and see you in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I literally think no one's like, they could sign up to a empty sequence and no one would even contact me or anything like that. So
now it might be different
Not
depending
afraid.
on your niche. Like Isabel's niche, they might be like, hey, you know what? I saw you on Instagram and I really want to know about this life reset. She may not be able to get away with that the same way. She needs to deliver something.
Yeah.
Your gamers that are just like transactionally getting some cheat codes or whatever.
Yep.
They always share their feelings. Okay. Good questions though. I hope that gives you some ideas. Let me look at Becky, if you'll stick around, I'm going to still do yours. If those of you who are still are here, if anybody else wants me to look at yours, I'll stick around and look at yours too. If you got to get, we will see you. Here's the homework. Launch. Okay. Don't mess around. Perfection is the enemy of done. Go fast, break stuff. Insert your cliche here. Get it out there. Because you will learn from that. You will also get momentum by doing, rather than thinking and analyzing and writing. You can iterate on the copy later, just like we were talking about with Dan and the crazy pop-up idea, all right? You can change things. It's not set in stone. So launch. And I mean a pop-up. I mean a site-wide thing or a footer wherever. Get it out there. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to go into the Forever series. We're going to go into we're going to talk about seasonal broadcasts. I'm going to give you some tools and templates for organizing your stuff. And then we'll start dabbling in the money-making things too. All right. Becky, are you still with me? I lost Becky. Was Becky ever with
I'm
me?
here.
There you are.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, my video is not working right now. Just
You know what? I don't
permissions
judge.
are not set up properly, so.
No worries. Okay. What do you want me to look at here specifically?
So I just I wasn't able to attend yesterday, so I watched the replay this morning. So I had a time to just sit down and jot down some ideas for the quick start guide without really
Cool.
fleshing it out.
Okay.
I've the problem that I run into with kind of focusing is that I don't have a niche. I don't have everything on my blog is just all over the place. I'm just a food blog. So my top recipes, my top 10 recipes, none of them are in the same category. You know what I mean? So I tried to kind of look at like maybe my top 50 recipes, and I started grouping them together to kind of think where are people coming to my blog to look at? And that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's kind of as far as I got.
Okay, gotcha. This happens to me all the time, by the way. I work with a ton of food bloggers, and this is a very, very common thing.
And then everyone says, well, you got to nail it down. What are you really blogging about? And I'm like, I just blog about food. I'm not really interested in you know, being a baking blog or a, you know, a dessert blog or whatever it is,
You
you know,
don't have
I'm
to, you
just,
don't- yeah, no, I
so.
mean, for
But
these
that
purposes
also
though.
leads me to a lot of struggles with narrowing down this type of thing.
Okay, so just give me a handful of this mishmash of things that people are, what are your top 5 posts? We don't need to go, just real quick, what are your top?
Sure. Cowboy beans, crockpot cowboy beans, homemade egg rolls, stuffed mushrooms, and air fryer ranch chickpeas. So we're all over the place.
Cowboy beans,
Crockpot cowboy beans, homemade egg rolls, cream cheese stuffed mushrooms, air fryer ranch chickpeas, and I've got a kibasi hash, like kibasi, pepper, onion, and potato hash. Those are my top 5.
I don't even know what that is, that hash thing, but
Yeah. Kibasi and potatoes in a pan, basically.
okay, just again, super quick. Why does somebody Google crockpot cowboy beans?
They are hosting a event where they want to feed a crowd a lot of homey beans. They
Okay,
are,
why does somebody Google egg rolls?
because they want restaurant food at home, maybe.
Okay, what about cream cheese stuffed mushrooms?
I'd say they're entertaining.
Air fryer ranch chickpeas? Is this a
I
standard thing
just
that
think
people
that's
would make?
because that's that air fryer trend, and everyone's got an air fryer, and everybody's Googling air fryer recipes.
Do you have a lot of air fryer recipes?
I only have a handful. I mean, I probably have, you know, maybe 15 or so. Not a ton, but
Okay.
I'm working on, you know, fleshing that out more.
But it sounds like it's an important part of your traffic, at least in this one case.
Yes, and especially, because I'd say in the top 20 recipes, I'd say at least 5 or 6 of them are air fryer recipes.
Oh, okay.
So that's definitely taken off. Like all of a sudden I started putting them on the blog and people started coming. And I mean, they bounce because I don't have a ton of air fryer recipes, but again, I'm working on fleshing that out. But that's one of the reasons why I put that as one of the categories of a quick start guide idea.
Are they in
those,
are they in a WordPress category labeled air fryer?
I'm actually blog on Blogger. I don't blog on WordPress.
Okay.
So they are in a category that is an air fryer category, but it's set up a little different on Blogger than it is on WordPress.
Okay. I don't actually know how to solve that for you. I don't know what's possible with Blogger and different pop-up software, because the reason I'm bringing this up is that if you're on WordPress and you have a WordPress category of air fryer, we can use pop-up software that will target anybody that is visiting one of those recipes.
Right.
So that's going to be a challenge for you, honestly, for you to grow your list at the highest levels. So
sure.
That's also going to be a challenge for you because you can't do save this recipe. You know what I'm talking about, the save this recipe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I know that would be a massive undertaking, and I am not trying to say that email is the only reason to switch, but you are building on a foundation that is tougher.
Totally get it. I totally understand. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been on Blogger since 2011. It's been a long road.
I'm sure you've run into all of it.
So I've been through all the, you know, everybody's told me to switch, basically everyone. But here I am still kind of plucking away on Blogger. And it, you know, it's working for the moment, but I know that it won't work for some of the functionality that WordPress offers for integrating with these other programs like email programs. I totally get that, but I'm still here because I'm not close to any kind of
you're going to need to find something that will work with, if you want to do pop-ups, that will work with Blogger, something like
and
this.
honestly, I have never had pop-ups on my Blogger blog. My email is dismal at best. I only had like an RSS email for years, and like that was it. So I'm here to soak up as much information as I can, and I'm not opposed to eventually possibly switching. Okay, but I like to start with as much information as possible before I make a jump like that, you know.
Yeah, for sure. What email platform are you using?
Flowdesk.
Okay. So they do have these forms that'll drop in, and that's excellent. Flowdesk may actually already have something that could be configured for Blogger with a pop-up. So high level, we'll talk about pop-ups more in detail tomorrow. You can do
Sure.
pop-ups safely. You can do them so they're not annoying. The way to not to be annoying is to give something of value. That's the short version. Just don't be annoying. And so what you're going through here, the first thing I look at are just go through that exercise. Is there any commonalities? It's hard to say. It feels like there's some entertaining commonalities in here.
Yeah.
That, you know, I don't necessarily have egg rolls or cowboy beans for every single meal, or especially not cream cheese stuffed mushrooms, but I like them. And if my mother-in-law's coming over or the cousins are coming over, we're doing a summer potluck or whatever, then that's where that shows up.
Right.
At the very minimum, what you can do, Becky, is seasonality. So you can change these out. So site-wide, you could have a Becky's top 10. My most popular summer recipes of all time. Now, that's still, you know, that may work great. It maybe we could do better than that, but I guarantee you it's better than this.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to join your family.
Oh,
nobody wants more
me. Yeah, I
recipes
know
to your
that.
inbox. Yeah,
Do you know
I'm
how
just
long
saying.
I toiled
generally
over that and what wording to use, and it's just terrible.
It just
every
doesn't matter.
time.
But what I'm saying is it almost doesn't matter. When you're doing a get recipes to my inbox, it's not solving, it's not scratching any itch for them.
100%. Yeah.
So I might just take, for you, the simplest thing might be
it's a tough one, I know.
okay, there's something like that, literally, because what you're focused on is, or what the potential, I guess what I'm worried about is spending too much time even thinking about this.
Yeah.
When we know, I promise you, your list will start to grow if you just get the pop-up and you turn this on with Flowdesk's already built-in software.
Sure.
Then come back to me and say, all right, Matt, I'm a believer. I'm sending emails on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see the magic. Now what?
Yeah.
So if this is something you think you can do.
Yeah.
By the way,
for sure.
Those of you who are sticking around for a second, thanks for being here. I'm going to show you one little, I just want to illustrate this point. Real life story. I have to pull up the email. Here it is. All right, this is 2021. Some of you are familiar with Natasha's Kitchen. Natasha is a very well-respected, big-time food creator. She is huge on her blog. She has a great newsletter. She is great on social and on YouTube and everywhere. So she's very big. I was working with her in 2021, and it was around Thanksgiving. It was right before Thanksgiving. And I'm like, man, we never created a Thanksgiving lead magnet for you. So I know I should have done that, but I don't have time now. I said, I'll do it for you. So here's what we made. It was a 1 email sequence, and not a 5-day thing. There were no pictures. She went on social media and she said, here's what I'm making for Thanksgiving. If you want my menu, sign up. She had thousands of people sign up because of the reach of her audience. And all it was, as promised, here's what I'll be making. Here's your checklist. This, some starters, some salads, some sides, some dessert. That's it. There was no 5-day thing. It was a 1-day sequence, and presto, they're on the list. And on top of that, people were clicking through like crazy. Why? Because they just needed the inspiration. They already have their own version of deviled eggs, but they never thought about doing garlic shrimp. Okay. I guess what I'm getting at is sometimes we overthink this stuff. Of course, I'm giving you a 5-day series for all the optimal reasons. I want Isabel's people to come through and have 5 days of this branding with her and experience that. But in a pinch, throw something up there, make an offer, and all we're doing is exchanging some content for an email address. That's really what we're doing here. Hope that helps. Becky, does that give you some ideas to get started on?
It does. It does.
Okay, cool. All right. Does anybody else have any questions before we leave? Happy to entertain any and all.
I just
right.
want to say to Becky, because I'm always also on Flowdesk, you probably will have like 3 types of coding there that you can use. And even for Blogger, you might download something that you can add code on headers and footers, and you can use that exact coding. Flowdesk has it. That's how I have my pop-up throughout my website, even though it's WordPress. So they have a lot of options. I think 3 different types of
Yeah.
coding. So you can just look at there. It's really easy.
I
enough
can
to do
usually
it.
work through most things. I can get my way to making them work. But yeah, I appreciate that. Awesome.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. Take care.